So, found a 5-star hotel here in Amelia Island that tells people not to use my car service. Not because I did anything wrong, and not because there was an incident. Just don't use them. Use our guy instead. And I sat with that for a minute, because my first reaction, and I'm not gonna lie, was frustration. But then I thought about it, and I said, you know what? Let me talk about this on camera. And that's why I filmed this. So stay tuned and see what I have to say about hotels. Before I get into all that, I want to give you some context, because this is just not a one-off story. What happened with this hotel is actually part of something bigger that I've been seeing, and that every new owner-operator in this business is going to run into at some point. So I decided to make this a 3-part series, and I'm calling it The Real Barriers. What it really costs to open a black car business. The things that nobody tells you when you decide to run your own black car business as a single owner operator. Now, episode 1, what we're doing today is about the hotels. How they steer guests away from independent operators like me, what it's actually is legal, what crosses the line, and then what you could do about it. Now, episode 2 is going to be about airports specifically. How airports stall independent operators on permits and decals while protecting the preferred vendors, and how you can fight back through the proper channels. And then episode 3 is going to be about what happens when you're not just an operator, but a teacher like me. When you put your face out there and you start showing other people how to do what you do, the target on your back gets bigger. And we're going to talk about that too. And if you're building a black car business, if you're trying to go independent, run your own vehicle, and be your own boss, this series is for you. Subscribe now so that you don't miss any of it, because this is the stuff that's going to save you time, money, and a whole lot of frustration. Now, people on the outside look at this business and they think it's simple. You drive people around, right? It's like being a barber, except it's actually worse than being a barber, because this industry has been gatekeeping for a long time. The established players have had it locked up, and they like it that way. And when you show up, do it right, operate professionally, and then start teaching other guys how to do it too, you put a bigger target on your back. They don't just dislike competition, they really don't like it when it multiplies. Now, it's not just you, it's everyone you're teaching. And that threatens the whole system that they built. So when something like this happens to me, I don't just take it personally, I understand exactly why it's happening. Now, let me be fair. Let me give you the full picture, because I'm not here to act like I don't understand how this industry works. Hotels have preferred vendor programs. That is a real thing. A concierge, a good one, builds relationships with car services, restaurants, tour companies, whoever. In a lot of cases, those relationships come from referral fees, commissions, and kickbacks. You could call it what you want, but it's standard practice in hospitality. So when a front desk agent or a concierge steers a guest towards their preferred car service instead of yours, that's just business. That's not illegal on its own. And I get that. I don't love it, but I understand it. But here's where it changes. When the steering involves false information, when the story that they're telling guests isn't just, we prefer this vendor, but something that misrepresents who I am, what my service is, and whether I'm legitimate, that is a different conversation entirely. That's not a business preference. That's interference. And that has consequences. And before I go any further, let me address something, because I already know what some people are going to say in the comments. Well, why don't you just become a preferred vendor? I want to be very clear about this. I'm not standing here complaining because I don't want to pay to become a preferred vendor. I understand how that works. You pay for placement, they send you business, and everybody benefits. That is a legitimate arrangement, and it's something I may pursue down the road. But here's the reality. When you're just starting out, when you're a single owner-operator building from scratch, you don't always have the budget to go pay every hotel on the island to put you on their list. That's not a day one move. That comes later. Once you've built the client base, your revenue, and your reputation, preferred vendor status is a growth step, not an entry point. So here's my question. If a hotel is spreading rumors about me, already telling guests not to use me before I've ever walked into their door to even have that conversation, why would I trust them with my money? If this is how they treat me before any business relationship exists between us, what makes me think that they're actually going to send me rides after I pay them? And more importantly, how do I even know their preferred vendor slot isn't already locked up and they're just taking fees from whoever walks in? Because that happens too. And I'm not against the preferred vendor model. I'm against being treated like a problem before I've even had a chance to become a partner. That is a difference. Now, I run a licensed, insured, and professionally operated black car service. I drive a 2024 Cadillac XT6. My clients are not random rideshare pickups. They are repeat guests, executives, families, and people who have been coming back to me because they trust me. So when someone is out here telling those guests something that isn't true to redirect that business, yeah, we're going to talk about it. Now look, I'm not an attorney. I want to be clear about that. But I do my research. And here is what I found out. And I want other operators to hear this clearly. In the state of Florida, there's something called the Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act. Most people, they call it the FDUTPA. And what it says in plain terms is that businesses cannot use unfair or deceptive methods to compete. That includes actions that harm another business through deception. Here's what's important. It's not just consumers who can file a complaint under this law. Competing businesses can file too. So if another business is using deceptive practices to undercut you, you have standing. And where do you file? Well, myfloridalegal.com. That's the Florida Attorney General's office. It's a public process and it's on record. Now, beyond that, and this one is important, there's a civil legal claim called a tortious interference with a business relationship. And what that means in real language is this. If someone, a person, a business, anyone, intentionally gets between you and an existing client relationship using false statements or improper methods, and that costs your business, that's actionable. That's something that you could take to civil court. And if somebody is making false statements of fact, not opinions, not preferences, but statements presented as fact about you or your business, and those statements damage your reputation or cost you clients, that's defamation of a business. And that is also a civil claim. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not here to threaten anybody. I'm not here to say I'm going to sue you. What I'm saying is I know what my options are. And I've done the reading, and I'm documenting everything. Client statements, dates, what was said, to whom, and how it affected a booking. Because documentation matters. If you're an operator and this is happening to you, start writing it down today. Text messages, emails, client accounts, everything. Because if it ever needs to go somewhere, you'll be glad that you have a record. And if you work at that hotel, and I know some of you watch this channel, I want to say something to you directly. I don't have any problems with you personally. I understand the referral game, and I understand how this works. But spreading false information about my business to clients, that's where I draw the line. I'm aware it's happening, and I'm documenting it. And I know exactly what my legal options are. I would much rather just do business. Coexist. Serve the guests who choose me, and let your preferred vendor serve the guests who choose them. That's how it's supposed to work. But I will protect mine, calmly, professionally, and on record. And this video is part of that record. Alright, let me talk to the people who are actually building something out there. I was talking to a passenger about this recently. Just being real with them. In the way I am on this channel. And I told them, this is a tough business to be in. It is cutthroat. And they were surprised. Like most people are. They see the car and they see the professionalism and they think you just open a business and it's just running. They don't see what happens behind the scenes. They don't see the established players who built this doing this for years, making calls, pulling strings, and making sure new faces don't get too comfortable. They don't see the preferred treatment, the gatekeeping, and the quiet conversations that are happening before you even show up. And for me personally, it's not just I'm new competition, it's that I teach. Every driver I help get started, every tip that I put out on this channel, every guy who watches this and decides to go independent, that threatens their whole setup. So yeah, the target on my back is bigger than most. But here's the thing, and I mean this. The long-term answer isn't to fight the hotel. The long-term answer is to make them irrelevant. When a guest already has your number saved in their phone before they even check in, the concierge desk has no power over that booking. None. That's the game. You build direct relationships. Get your Google business profile dialed in so when somebody searches for a black car service on Amelia Island, you show up. Collect reviews, follow up with every client, and make the experience so good that they'll never go back to asking the front desk. The hotel can steer a guest who doesn't know any better. They cannot steer a client who already knows you. And that's the distinction between a guest and a client. And that's the whole business model right there. You build your pipeline, you own your relationships, and you document everything. Know your rights. That's how you build something that they can't touch. Alright, that's the episode, and I know this one's a little bit different than usual, but this is the part of what this channel is. The real stuff. Not just the ride highlights, not just pretty shots of the XT6 on a beach road. The actual business of doing this independently. The wins and the frustrations. And if you're building a black car service, if you're an Uber Black driver that's trying to go private, if you're out here navigating the same nonsense, subscribe. Drop a comment. Tell me if this has happened to you, because I read every one. And I document the whole journey on this channel. The clients, the logistics, the business decisions, the legal stuff, the wins, and yes, the frustrations. Hence, the name of the channel. Fares and frustrations. So remember, drive better, drive smarter, and drive without the frustrations.